Assalamu alaikum. Today we continue with the marks for the state of khafd or lowering. Another word for it is jar, which is dragging. Last time we talked about the kasra, this kasra here. So this is an example of the kasra. And we saw what kind of nouns that will take this kasra. Today we will cover the ya. This ya here is one of these three marks. So if we read this text, وللخفض ثلاث علامات الكسرة والياء والفتحة. فأما الكسرة فتكون علامة للخفض في ثلاثة مواضع. في الاسم المفرد المنصرف. المنصرف here means that this singular noun accepts nonation and this e. So that's why they had to use this word here to make that point. وجمع التكسير المنصرف, the broken plural that is منصرف too. This منصرف means it accepts nonation and this e as a mark. If the last letter is not a vowel, it's a consonant. So وجمع المؤنث السالم and the sound feminine plural. So we talked about this last time. Now وأما الياء فتكون علامة للخفض في ثلاثة مواضع. This ya is a mark for خفض or jar, lowering خفض. Jar is dragging, different terminology for the same thing. في ثلاثة مواضع, in three places. في الأسماء الخمسة, in the five nouns, we know what these are, we will see an example now. وفي التثنية, in the dual, والجمع, the plural. This plural here is the sound masculine plural. That's what they mean by this plural, جمع here. It takes the ya as a mark, a letter, marks the state of that noun or the state the noun is in. Now I just want to make a note about this word. You see this word here, مواضع? That's broken plural. The singular of this word is موضع, and this is masculine, موضع. So this could take any movement there, but the plural of it, notice what happened, they added an a there, and there is two letters after it. We will not discuss this subject now, just to point out this shape, because this playlist is focused on text analysis. You might see movements that are in a position they should not be in. So just be aware of the possibility of a grammatical explanation for it. So here, notice this مواضع. When we study the subject of idaffa, saying something is of something else, we will learn that this word مواضع should have an e at the end, but instead it has a fatha because it is جمع تكسير غير منصرف, not منصرف. You see the fatha there, and it does not take the nonation. So when you look at this, you think, okay, I know the marks for nouns, and I don't see this should be an indefinite noun, and you are right, but there is no nonation there. Why is it? There's only just for the fatha. So now you know. You just for now, for this at this level, just know that some nouns will not take nonation even if they're undefined. And notice here they made the mistake here. This is the same sentence here. فتكون علامة للخفض في ثلاثة مواضع. I did not pronounce this a here because I paused at it. Notice here فتكون علامة للخفض في ثلاثة مواضع. They put the kasra there, and that's a mistake. It should be just like this one here. Of course, there is a reason for this. We will discuss that when we come to it. But I just wanted to point this out because sometimes when I do examples, I put the movement where it should be, but sometimes you will see it in a different position. Now you will see this word مواضع with this كسرة if it's defined. So if I say مواضع الكتب, the places of the books, this becomes defined noun. That's another way of defining a noun. You're indicating it's not just any places, it's the places of the books. Now because of that it accepts this E, the kasra, but still it does not accept the nonation because it's defined. Nonation is for undefined and some proper nouns. Now this is too much detail, I will not go into it more than this, but you will notice that in some examples some words will rhyme with this structure, just like I did last time, and I will discuss it again now. We will see that example. So for the ya, we will see the 5 nouns, the dual, and the masculine sound plural. Here, this is an example of from the book, one of the books that we use in this playlist. Notice here, this is Abu, one of the 5 nouns, father, Ab. Here it's in the state of being raised, using the wa. Here it's in the state of nasib, meaning it's an object of the verb in here. I saw your father, Abba, so that's the mark, there is a here. So it changed this ma. This is just a mark for the state of this noun, the father, Ab. In here, notice it was dragged, this Abi. They should have the 2 dots there. So bi Abi. This ba is one of the lowering letters, bi Abi. So it caused this to the word Ab to take this E now, to indicate as a mark of its state. And the state is it's being lowered or dragged by this lowering letter, this ba here. You can think of it as by or with. In this case it's the example. Here's Omar followed the example of Abu Bakr, Abi Bakr. Bi Abi Bakr becomes Abi. This turns from Abu, Abak, or Abi. That's different states you will see it in. So that's one noun. That's the second noun, brother. Akhu, Akha, Akhi. Notice here this Akhi, this ya there. It's used as a mark to indicate the state. Notice the lowering letter before it. Hamu, father or relative-in-law. Wa, you notice Hamu becomes, it's Ham, becomes wa because of its state here, it's raised. Hama and Hami because of this lowering letter there. Also here, Fuka. This fu, there are 2 words, fu or thumb. If you use the word thumb for mouth, you don't worry about these movements. You just use the regular movements, the fatha, the kasra, the dhamma. But if you use this word, the fa or fu, so now notice it's fu here for the state of being raised, the fa there, and fi, fihi. Notice this means his mouth, and notice the lowering letter on his mouth. So وضع حامد يده على فيه. He put his hand on his mouth, فيه. As I said, you can use fam and you don't worry about this, but it's here they use this fu, so the ya indicating the state of this noun there. The dhu here, notice this dhu, the one with. Dhu means the one with. Notice the state changed. They use this a there to indicate that change. And ya here to indicate that it's lowered by this min here. The one dhu, the one with, here is status or honor. So this ya is used as a mark there. So these are the 5 nouns that are mentioned in the text. Now, last time we discussed these examples here that take the kasra. So this is the singular noun. We said it takes the kasra at the end. This here singular nouns also take the kasra. But here notice معلمات, this here is the sound feminine plural. فلاحات, this here teachers plural for feminine. فلاحات plural for farmer, meaning farming women. So they take the kasra here. Now this is the example I talked about. This here madaris, notice it's same as the word مواضع. You get the a there for the plural. This is the singular. It changed, it broke, and it got this a in the middle and two letters after it. So you could have two letters or three letters. Now this is undefined, and I put kasra last time because I said مدارس المدينة, schools of the city, which means this became defined. Because of that, I'm able to use the kasra there. So you don't have to remember this now. As I said, just remember that sometimes some other law kicks in and cause a different movement that you see that should not be there, but it's there for another reason. In this case, when I defined it, I said the schools of the city, I'm allowed to use the kasra. In other cases, if I end the sentence with it and it's undefined, meaning there is no definite article there, I'm not saying al-madaris, the schools, and it's not defined by saying the schools of the city, I can use this kasra here. Of course, when it's defined, you cannot use nonation. So that you don't have to worry about that, because defining a noun means you can just go back to regular movements. So this is how the Arabs used to do it. As I said, this is too much details we should not go into, but just so you will notice, it's a good way to point out these things as we go. So now, if we look at the second type of noun, we said the 5 nouns take the ya. Now here you see this is the dul. Rajulan, 2 men. If I wanted to say from 2 men, if I added men here, from من 2 men, من رجلان, I cannot say من رجلان, I will say من رجلين. Notice here, رجلين. This an in the dul is always have this kasra at the end. This is a fixed movement. But here, notice they use the mark, this ya there. This is your mark that it's lowered. So min rajulain. Here, 2 houses, daran. If I use ila daran, I cannot say ila daran. 2 houses. I say ila darain. So if I say إلى دارين لأحدهما, to 2 houses for someone, if I pause, I don't have to pronounce this E there. This is fixed movement. It's not a mark. This is your mark, this ya here. With the dul. عصفوران, if I say 2 عصفوران, لعصفوران, I cannot say لعصفوران. I have to say لي. This of course will change. So this will be لعصفورين. لعصفورين. So this is a ra there. So notice this is your mark for this dul to be lowered because of this. This is a here. I butchered this one. So this is لعصفوران. this is wrong. You can't use this because of this here will be replaced with this ya here. So the dual will have these two marks, this a to indicate the state of being raised, and this ya to indicate the nasb, as we saw before. We discussed this, and the lowering. So you will only see the dual with this mark, a or the ya. So you know the ya now is for to represent two states of this noun, being lowered by one of these letters here, or nasb, being an object of something, of an act or a verb. Same thing here for safinatan, two ships, will be safinatayn. Shajaratan, two trees, shajaratain. So notice that's the how we use this ya there. Now we will cover the last mark. Notice here these are example of a broken plural. So in this text here they show this image. So this is mufrad, singular person. Here you have these two people. And here there's one man, two men, and here you have more than two men. So this is mufrad singular, dual muthanna, and jama' plural. So now if we see this third example we use the ya in is the sound masculine plural. We said we use this wa to indicate the state of being raised, muallimun. We will see what that means later. So this indicates it's in the state of being raised, muallimun. Fallahun, farmers, masculine. Muhandisun, engineers, masculine, plural. So all these are plural, sound masculine plural. If I use one of the lowering letters before any of these, this one will be yan. So this is here the mark. Now if I use one of the lowering letters here, this will become in. Nah. This n here always have this fatha with the sound masculine plural. So muallimina, muallimuna. If I continue, if I pause I don't pronounce it, but if I continue I will say muallimuna, muallimina if I have a lowering letter. So these are the two forms. You will see muallimuna or muallimina. Let me write it here. So this here will be this here is your mark, this ya there, muallimin. Fallahuna, fallahin. So fallahin. So notice this ya there, fallahin. So these are the three, muhandisin, muhandisun, muhandisin. I will leave these, you can think about them. Muhandisun just becomes muhandisin. You just replace the un with the yin. Nashitun, nashitin. Sadiqun, sadiqin. You just add that ya and there. Of course, we will discuss the rules that cause this to happen later. So we covered the 5 nouns. This here is the dhu or the, in this case, in this mark. Then we talked about the dual, عصفورين, دارين, رجلين. And we talked about the sound masculine plural. Next time, inshallah, we will continue with the third mark to indicate the khafd, this fatha here, as when used as a mark for lowering. Thank you for listening. See you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.